4P's episode 60, or since it's Super Bowl week, episode LX, which kind of sounds like a car model. Okay, first unofficial P. Super Bowl prediction time. New England 33, LA Rams 31. I do hate the Patriots, but as a Michigan football fan, it is so hard to ever pick against Tom Brady. The GOAT! Spent a lot of time with my kids over the past 2 weeks thanks to the flu taking my wife out of commission and into total no-contact quarantine for over a week. And while that sucked, I actually appreciated the bonding time that I had with the kids. And, after school every day they'd get home and they get off the bus, and I found myself finding creative new ways to ask them about their day. Otherwise, I would have gotten the same monosyllabic good, fine when I ask them how their day's going. But instead, I asked some different questions like, what was something that made you laugh today? Or tell me something new that you learned. Or who got in trouble in school? Was anyone mean to you today? Or were there any rules that you didn't follow, right? These are not just the simple questions, but something that actually gets them to think. Who'd you play with at recess or playtime? I feel like the more I learned about my kids, the more fun I had, and I definitely got deeper than I ever had before. But it also makes me realize how much I miss out on their daily lives, what goes on. And I don't know, maybe I'm just ready to be more open to the idea of homeschooling them. Like many of you guys watching this, since I know this is popular in the marketing or advertising industry, I find conversations and articles about the industry sometimes to be a little bit prosaic or even bland. But there was a really thought-provoking article by Ogilvy Vice Chairman Rory Sutherland over the weekend, talking about why advertising is in what he calls a state of crisis. Now, in short, it's not because the creative is bad or even that media is getting more cluttered or these platforms are harder to reach audiences. In fact, all of those are quite the opposite. Creativity has never been better, and the platforms available to marketers have never been easier or better to use. Now, his hypothesis actually hit home for me, which is that too often effectiveness and efficiency are lumped together when we're measuring performance. I'm guilty of that. I define effectiveness as achieving goals and objectives, and I define efficiency as being the least wasteful possible. Now, I love an emotionally gripping or funny video as much as anybody, but I also love going deep on conversion rate optimization with data analysts. So as both a left brain and a right brain marketer and thinker, these do go hand in hand for me. You can still have good work by following a process or being methodical. Now, Sutherland isn't saying that they should be mutually exclusive, but really just that efficiency and effectiveness are poorly correlated. The problem is that most people aren't open-minded to other ideas or working with partners or reaching out beyond their comfort zone, exploring new technologies and platforms or trying to understand data, whatever. We let our egos get in the way. Senior leaders at companies are still reluctant to fully trust marketing and advertising because of this. And as long as we keep up with this, my creative is better than yours, or my deck is bigger than your deck, I said deck, who's going to blame them? It may be hard for somebody to believe, but I follow every Republican senator, the RNC, the GOP, conservative pundits, all of them. I follow them on Twitter. After every breaking news alert, I check both CNN and Fox News just to see how they each cover the story du jour. You all pretty much know by this point where I fall on most of the issues in terms of the political spectrum, but I don't want to live in the bubble of like-minded thinkers who just all follow and see such a small version of the news. It's important to understand how all sides communicate and think. Earlier this week, Democratic presidential candidate and California Senator Kamala Harris pledged to reverse the GOP-led tax cuts if she were to be elected. Now, within minutes, the GOP's Twitter handle went on the offensive, saying that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which is more or less popularly known, has led to bonuses and wage growth in addition to creating thousands of jobs for Americans. And this is technically true. Thousands of jobs for Americans. Think about it. We are hundreds of millions of people. So this is grossly misleading, and it kind of made me angry. It's like saying a 3-13 NFL team are winners because they did win 3 games. No. What the GOP isn't telling you is that, on the whole, the tax cut had zero major impact on business spending. In fact, 84% of companies have said that they have not changed their plans and that bonuses are continuing to go out the way they were, which is in most cases disproportionate and distributed to senior management and company leadership. Expectations for capital spending for the next 3 months have also been weakened by pretty much every major analyst, meaning we're not really in as good a shape from a financial and an economical perspective as people want you to believe. In the meantime, federal deficit actually increased, and many think that this may be the beginning of a recession. Remember, data can be partially reported to tell an incomplete story. So get as much information as possible and a complete picture from all sides. I'm on record stating that I hate everything about guns. They should be banned and destroyed. Private ownership should be made illegal. It's just how I feel. The reality is that none of this is going to happen anytime soon. But the Second Amendment can and should be clarified and updated for modern times. The right to bear arms can and should be limited. Look, you want to own a rifle to keep locked in your closet in case of a break-in? Whatever. But here's the real deal. Almost 5 million children live in homes where at least one firearm is stored, loaded, and unlocked. Is that fucking crazy? This is a public health crisis, just like smoking was 20 years ago. So there needs to be a compelling call to action for all physicians, pediatricians, to keep kids safe. And the way they do this is by sharing data with parents on the significant risks associated with unsafe gun storage. This is practical. This is real. The onus should also be on firearms manufacturers to step up and innovate, test, design smarter guns if this is what you really believe is contributing to our society. Guns that are inoperable by young children to prevent unintentional injury or death. I mean, what the fuck is the NRA going to say to fight this? They can't. It's not rational. It's not logical. Kids should not have guns. Because no matter what the Second Amendment says, the rights of kids can and should be limited for their own safety. Just like voting, just like driving.